Alright, I will take care of that friend request later. So, for everybody who's just tuning in now, this is part 2 of Legend of Mana Remake. Well, not really remake, remaster. So, it looks like I just got a friend request out of the last one here. So, where were we? Okay. I'm just gonna talk to her. Oh gosh. Now that line wasn't changed at all. And neither was that one. Oh gosh. They retranslated his name, so it's no longer Gaius. They're actually calling him by his Japanese name now. That's gonna be a trip. Wow! Blood! I missed a chest! Okay. Oh, Dana's gone, but the chest is still here. Whew! At least I didn't have to load for that. Oh, good gravy. I can't believe that. Okay. Come on. I'm starting to regret my choice of weaponry. This is throwing me for a loop. There we go. Woohoo! And I got an Elder Bow. We're not switching to that. This does, however, remind me... What? Where did all of this come from? Oh wait, that's, Whew. Okay, that's Nicola's stuff. There we go. Now let me just check something here. Gun. Legend of Mana .info is an excellent resource for everything you will ever need to know about Legend of Mana. I don't think there's anything that's been written in the past several years that hasn't at least referenced Legend of Mana.info. And that is... Oh gosh. They called retreat backstop. This is gonna get really interesting, y'all. Yay. Okay, you know what? We're just gonna... Oh gosh, that leg is terrible. Well, looks like Niccolo took care of that. I am sorry, but I have a certain expectation that if the game was playable long enough ago that it's old enough to drain, that a remake that isn't even really a remake so much as a remaster really shouldn't have lag issues that didn't exist on the original hardware. I don't think that that's necessarily unreasonable. Oh gosh, that's awful. Okay, you know what? Oh, bless me. Ah, yes, they definitely did. That was wasted. So Patrick, what do you think? Do you think they actually made the allied AI a little more aggressive? Because I'm seeing that Niccolo seems to be pretty proactive here. Well, here's hoping they at least fixed the pet AI. Okay, so for everybody else's benefit here, Patrick, he probably already knows what's going on with this guy, but this is a boink beast. We touch this guy, he's going to send us all the way back to the beginning. You have fun with that, Patrick. I'm gonna say that you're gonna find a lot of differences. Now that is really interesting, the way they changed these lines. Because you can see how what he said didn't really line up with the lip movements. In the original PS1 translation, he actually says things like, "Come closer, my children," and it almost looks like it should fit. So this really changed the translation of a lot of things, and I'm not going to say it's necessarily for the better. I think that differences in the translation in this game are going to be really interesting for me, because as someone who remembers a lot of the original lines, and especially just the attention to detail that they had with certain things in the PS1 original, that maybe they didn't think of those same things in this translation. Not that it's necessarily wrong, or that it's maybe it's closer to the original Japanese, but it doesn't fit the mouth flaps. It's gonna be really weird for me. Okay, we got jump, retreat, back roll, jump, scratch, high jump. Crouch. I can just get these guys in a line. Shoot. Well, that sucked. I got my co-pilot here. She's my baby girl. She's my cat. She's not actually my baby. This entire sword thing is gonna take a while to get used to, because like I was saying in the last video, I usually go with spear and staff. But if you want near perfect stats, you really have to stick with sword for basically, it's like 89 levels or something crazy. I shouldn't say crazy. I'm trying to eliminate those types of things from my language. It is hard to undo. I will say that your language patterns are not an easy thing to change, but the effort is worth it, just because you don't always understand the harm you do, you know? Just to get a wee bit political, mental health care in America is really not fun. As somebody who has had to deal with it directly myself, the amount of just nastiness in the system is not good. And we live in a bit more enlightened times now than when I was, building my general everyday vocabulary. And this remix of the song sounds terrible. Okay, just for a comparison here, let's do something here. That is nasty and tinny, and I don't think... I'm actually playing on my PlayStation 3 display, so like I said, I've had some life changes and I don't have to stay up anymore like that, like I used to have to when I was doing most of this stuff. And so actually I'm in what is now my game room, which used to be my brother's room, but now that I don't have my apartment anymore, I just kind of ended up moving all of everything that I had used to build that out into here. And even you can tell that this is maybe a little less in the instrumentation, but I'm going to show you this now. That is so much better. Alright, let's do this. Alrighty. Take that. Woohoo! Awesome. Alright. So, I think that with the way this works, really, I might split this up into less than hourly segments. So I'm gonna go in here. I am going to go ahead and save. Actually, we're gonna talk to him. Then we're gonna save. All of these windows flying out like this is actually kind of distracting for me because of how smooth it is. It doesn't look right. So we're gonna see this. And then what I'm gonna do is my strategy for doing it that way is really so that I have a point of reference before and after. And then we've got some new books. I want to see the art. I really do. Okay, so this is really just... I love that they kept the fancy paper background. It's a little more subtle in this, but they kept it. And that really goes to the kind of watercolor nature of the art. And there are some real significant differences in here, too. Oh, good gravy. Okay. Got a couple of lands under our belt. Oh gosh. Oh, they did not redo that art, did they? Oh. Huh. Okay. Oh my gosh. Now this is gorgeous. They did redo this art, but they redid it so that it was very true to the originals. Oh good heavens. This is gorgeous. having gone through this so many times, but I wonder if they managed to get their hands on the original art for this. Like, if they just had the original renders lying around or something, or if they just repainted everything. Nice. This all seems to be very simple. Oh gosh, those scales are gorgeous. This seems to be more or less the same text that I'm used to seeing here. Really, really, really liking this art. I'm gonna guess, based on that apple and that leaf on that apple, that they found the original renders. Oh wow. Oh gosh. Now this is gonna be great for me because this knife is really, really, really beautiful, and I love weaponry. I think that weaponry is a type of art in itself, really. There are so many things that are so beautiful that you think of what a sword is, and it's a sharp piece of metal on a stick. But you think of what a sword can be, and there's artistry in that, you know? So this is kind of exciting for me to see what they actually have for these renders. Oh, wow. Yes, okay. I really, really, really wish that I could use some sort of pointer device or something, that there was a cursor that I could do. Because this solidifies to me that they kept the original renders and reused those here. And I am going to point out exactly why. That little weird bend near the bottom of the haft of the hammer, near the handle there, that's from the original. And if they were going to redo something, repaint it, fix something, I think that honestly they would have straightened that out, probably. So that tells me right there, that's basically all the confirmation I need that this is the original art that they had, that they've just been able to recover it and do it in HD. That's amazing, and I don't think I can express how special that really is to me with this game. Really. It is, I take a little bit of exception to some of the changes they made in this game, but keeping that really sells this to me. And I'm going to say that I love that they kept the word precludes in there. If you don't know what precludes means, now's your chance to look it up. That is great for me. I learned some great vocabulary from games when I was a kid. That, and I think probably my favorite word that I ever learned from a game, at least, is allocate, and that is from Chrono Cross. English is a wonderful language. It's got a lot of wonderful words in it, and I think that using English to a fuller extent is really beneficial. But yeah. Nice. Oh, nice. Those are some really nicely rendered gauntlets. You can even see where they did the chain on the fingertips. That is a really great attention to detail. As somebody, again, who knows weapons and armor, has an interest in these things, those are some really, really well-rendered gauntlets. The way you can see the pins in the finger joints from those would be the oh heavens, why can't I remember the we still use them. It's those things, rivets. That would be like a riveted joint in the fingers of those gauntlets. That is really great. This ring always struck me as being very beautiful, even in the limited resolution of the original. Look at that diamond in the center. That is great. I think that even though it's more subtle now, you can see that rainbow effect in the top right of that diamond, where it's got some refraction going there. Now this I have to get a closer look at, because I always thought, okay, so for whatever reason I always thought that those seemed to be like studs. I always wondered if they were supposed to be studs or if they were supposed to be jewels because of the magical nature of these things. Nice suit of armor. Okay. We've got our little bestiary here. Not a lot of surprises here. That's the same. Oop. Now this I gotta see. They did repaint this. So these were always painted, and I think, like in this case with the Sweet Moai, I'm pretty sure that they actually had that highlight purple before instead of blue. You see a lot of purples and blues and really shading with complementary colors a lot in these. Or just unlike colors, and that was one of the really great things about the game, because it's like that in the sprites too. I'm just gonna say this as somebody, again, who's an artist myself in my free time. The ability to do that kind of shading really is a very good mark, because I will say that, like, my kind of gold standard almost, something that I cannot do that I immensely respect in other artists, is the ability to shade things in pink. That is not something that I can wrap my head around, because I am a lot more literal than that. So when you look at somebody who's doing like counter shading and counter lighting in these types of colors, where like shading stone, like orange stone in pink or purple, or like I said, pink is my kind of gold standard for that. Somebody who can do that and make it look good, that is, I want to be that person. So it and you can actually see this very much does look actually painted. So like I can kind of see where they have the brush strokes and everything in here. And so they had a good base to work from, but that isn't to be held against them. But yeah. The art in this game is just really great. It really is. So I'm actually... Oh my gosh, it's animated! Okay, so I think that's it for our encyclopedias for now. So, I guess considering about half of this has been oh, good gravy. Alright. Okay. Considering that half of this has been just me going and ogling some art, I'm going to stop here, I think. I will pick off where I left off before doing the library run there, but not tonight, unfortunately, because I have to go grab my housemate from work. So I think that again, just to summarize some of my thoughts on this, the background art, amazing, love it. The reusing of the original renders for all of the weaponry and stuff and repainting, or maybe not even repainting, maybe they just found the original art for all of the fruits too. Superb. I wanted to see the sprites get attention though. And as a sprite artist myself, I know what goes into that. Fully understand the effort involved, and this game, to be fair, has a lot of sprites. But if you're gonna do everything else, I think that hiding behind the original sprites is kind of a show of a lack of confidence. And I understand why, because I've been very, very, very critical personally of how Square has redone sprites, but I think that a lot of that has been because they've tried to do it in a way that doesn't honor the original, that doesn't offer any depth, that feels very flat and very bland and lacks character, really. And I think that the sprites in this game are good enough where they could have just upgraded them, not redone them, but just, you know, instead of multiplying them by whatever they had to multiply them by to get them to this size, do that for real, and then just start cleaning up all of the jagged edges. I think that the designs are great as ever, and that if they had just done that, or even offered an option. Options are almost always good, you know? But I think that with all of the design in this game, and the clarity that they understand all of the original art with and the designs and that kind of stuff, that they could have done something amazing with it. And they didn't. And so I will admit I'm a little disappointed by that. And that, again, all of the detail that I've been noticing around here, where I've been like, has that been there this entire time, or whatever? You know, it's like there's so much detail, and I wanted to see that for the sprites too. They obviously have it for the portraits. I wanted to see that for the sprites, because Legend of Mana has great sprites, but they could have used that love, you know? And again, as a sprite artist myself, as someone who does pixel art, I understand the effort that goes into it. But I think it could have been done. And maybe people don't want it to be done. I've seen things that said that they wouldn't have had it any other way, and I'll agree to disagree. I think that too much was left alone, maybe because they lacked the confidence that they could do it right. And to be fair, they were never going to make everyone happy. And I think that maybe deciding to just do nothing with the sprites was their way of trying to make more people happy. But they could have done something with it. The colors in this game are very vibrant with the sprites. The shapes are very bold, but there's still a lot of detail. And you can work with that. Again, the biggest issue that I have with sprite work that they've done in HD remakes like Final Fantasy VI is that they lack depth. That's not an issue with these sprites. If they had just gone and just updated them, just upscaled them, kind of, really. Not really upscaled, but I'm lacking a better word for it. I think that they could have kept all of the charm of them, but made the detail clearer, because there's so much detail that kind of gets assumed when you're on a CRT in limited resolution that doesn't get assumed when you're doing something in HD. And I wanted to see that detail. That was the biggest thing that I wanted to see, honestly, of the entire thing, was the detail of the sprites, and I didn't get it. But other than that, other than the nitpicks that I've pointed out so far, just differences in translation or things that I think might have been improved in translation, I think that this is definitely a worthwhile version of the game. From what I've seen so far, and what they kept and what they changed, I don't agree with all of it, but nobody's going to agree with all of it. You're never going to make everyone 100% happy. And I think that if you haven't played Legend of Mana, this is going to be an excellent way to do it. Again, PS4, Steam, Switch, I think is everything it's on. I don't remember if it's on Xbox. But it is everything it needs to be, I think. And as somebody who's just really familiar with the original PS1 release, I'm going to see a lot of differences that other people probably aren't. And that's just the nature of the beast, really. I think that if you've been considering picking this up, absolutely pick it up. If you are on the fence at all, I think that, especially, okay, even though some of the music is just really bad, you have the original music there, and honestly, with all of the issues that I have with the new music, that's what I'm going to be playing with. I'm going to be keeping this on the original PS1 music, just because it doesn't grate on my nerves, and it's not nearly as tinny, and it maybe isn't as, quotes, real or something, but it makes me more comfortable. I don't like the audio effects that they have on the new music. I just don't. It's like, it got lost because my mic was off in my first attempt at a part 1, but some of it, walking into a room, I actually stopped talking because it was like getting hit in the face with a hammer. It was actually kind of unpleasant. And, but they have that option, and I'm happy they have that option. I think that if Square keeps on doing that with all of their remakes, where they let you have the original music, that's gonna make me very, very happy. And when it comes to sprite work, if they could just make that an option, that would be nice. I understand maybe why they wouldn't, and that it would be more to store or whatever, but same diff with music, really? I mean, anyway. I think that everything here is HD as it should be, except for the sprites. And, again, speaking from experience, it's possible. I think that they could have done it, and they didn't. But everything else, except for the music being kind of bad, having the original music and playing with the original music, that's fixable. I think that this is a really, really good way to experience the game, especially because people only really have limited time with PS3 anymore, which you could have gotten it off of PSN, but that's kind of going away now. I think that if this is your first experience with the game, it's going to be a good one. And maybe you won't notice all of the things that I noticed because you weren't there for the original, or maybe you were there for the original and you're just going to be taking all of the notes like I have been. I mean, you know, it's not necessarily all bad. There's like a couple of things that are bad, but the rest of it is great. And, this has my seal of approval. It really does. Maybe it's like my silver seal of approval rather than like golden seal of approval, but it's still my seal of approval. And I'm actually kind of excited to see where it goes from here. So with that, I need to scoot because my housemate is gonna kill me if I don't go right now to grab her. So, but yeah. Alright.